Okay, we're going to talk about wanting to be a rock star. A man, Jimi Hendrix. Love that man. Listen to him in the late 60s, man. Hot item to have a Jimi Hendrix album in your collection. Like I said, I always wanted to be a rock star. It started back early 60s when I was younger. I used to sing to the radio that my mom and dad were playing when we lived in. And I was singing to like Johnny Horton, Buck Owens, Johnny Cash. Then I heard the Ventures. They had put out a song called Telstar. Just really fired me up. I mean, really fired me up. Um, in the early 60s, we had moved into town and we had got a Curtis Mathis color TV home entertainment center. It was huge. It had a big 27-inch cathode ray TV, a Fisher tube receiver, had 5 speakers on each side. It was top of the line back in the early mid 60s. My parents would leave a lot. My sister had a boyfriend, and my brother was in the service. And I was home alone. I was a latchkey kid, and I listened to a lot of loud music. Loved loud music. Still do to this day. Can't hear it, but I still love it. Um, After we moved into town and all this started going on, and I started playing, like air guitar, I still play a pretty good air guitar even to this day. But I had found a square piece of wood and a long piece of wood. I nailed them together, bent the nails over on the back and run wires down it. And that was my guitar, air, air guitar. I got more splinters in my hands than you wouldn't believe from that rough piece of wood. They were just junk. But anyway, I was living the dream. And believe me, it's a big dream. So, 1968, we went to California to visit my dad's uncle. And he gave me a guitar that he had gotten when he had purchased a refrigerator from an appliance store. And this was just a cheap Japanese Korean guitar, only about an inch thick. The pickups were on top of the wood. It was on the caliber of your Tisco Del Rey guitars. You could buy them at Walmart, Walgreens, Woolworths, Target, Kmart back then, whatever the thrift stores were back then. My brother came home from the service and showed me 5, 6 chords. First band we were in, we really stunk, to tell you the truth, but anyway. The drummer's parents were in charge of what Englewood school system had a teen dance night every Friday night, and teen canteen, and they had live bands, and they were in charge of who was booking, who got to play. Oh, that was a big in, hey, we're guaranteed to play. And we get a gig from them, and they were being really kind and stuff, and they gave us Valentine's Day gig. Okay, that's a big gig. So instead of being in the cafeteria, which was medium sized, we're not playing in the gymnasium. We had these little tiny cracker box amps, no PA system. I had borrowed a bass amp and guitar from one of my fellow classmates. To put it shortly, man, we really stunk. It was so bad that some other musicians that were in the audience came up and played out the night to save the night for all of the students. Now this is a school that I went to school at. These are my peers out there in the audience. Okay, we stunk. embarrassed that the other guys had to go play for us. And even worse than that, I had to go back to school Monday and face all of these people that I was embarrassed in front of. I mean, I was the laughing stock of the school, the laughing stock of the school. Made it through that year. That summer came up, and I was still playing guitar. I had purchased me an amplifier, a big amp, and me and some of my neighborhood friends decided to form a band. A couple of brothers down the street played bass and guitar. I played guitar, and the drummer lived a quarter block down the street. And that summer we came to my house. My mom and dad were working. I was a latchkey kid. And we'd set up and we'd practice for 4 or 5 hours, listen to loud music, and try to impress all the girls in the neighborhood. That following fall, we got an audition for the Teen Canteen, and we just nailed it big time. We were the first show that year, and just blew everybody off the stage because they'd seen our performance a year before, and they were all real skeptical about what was going to be going on. But we proved ourselves. We played like 6, 7 times. Nothing really came of that band. We all discovered cars and girls, and the music went along the wayside. Several years later, I got the itch again to play. Went out and purchased all my equipment again, and started playing with some more friends of mine, a gentleman by the name of Randy Walters and Lynn Esser. Lynn Esser is an artist in New York City now, and Randy Walters, may he rest in peace, was a guitar player, and he was one of the founding members of a Denver heavy metal punk band called Crank Call Love Affair, along with Mau Mau 55. And then later went on to Los Angeles and formed a band called Pygmy Love Circus. And they traveled all around the world as a B band. Okay, remember that B band. So I played with these guys for a while, and things broke up again. I sold my equipment. I purchased my equipment again, and I sold my equipment again. And my dad had passed away, and I was living at home, and he had a 24 by 30 garage outside, and I went and turned that into a practice studio. And playing with my friends, we had dreams and aspirations of becoming big stars. And we played in there for years. Some of my best performances was in that garage to nobody. But anyway, bands formed. We go out and play. Kind of okay. We had our big night to open for one of the major acts in Denver at a place called Wallabies. We were opening for the Young Weasels. And we had to play 2 sets before, and our drummer got into a bunch of fucking cocaine, and everything was so fast that we played 2 sets of music in 1 set. What the hell are we going to do now for the second set? Go back and replay the songs out there? Needless to say, we didn't play very much after that. We were blackballed. Some of my greatest mistakes have been playing with my friends. And that was my downfall. Because later on in my career, I happened to meet this gentleman that I was working for. He was a drummer, as most musicians do. But come to find out, the stuff he was saying was true. He had played drums. He was to start off, he was a drum tech for Lars of Metallica. He went on to play with Les Paul, Noel Redding, the Willie Nelson Band, uh, George Strait. The list goes on and on. He played the White House twice. So he was a credible drummer. So I got into a band with him. It was pretty good. The other members were okay, and we were going in the wrong direction. The vocalist wanted us to go into like a Dream Theater type uh, motif of 15 to 20-minute long songs, and it really didn't work out. And had a few gigs. Had a lot of bad gigs, man. A lot of bad gigs, man. One time we had our equipment impounded because we didn't have the money to pay the sound guy. We'd done a last minute gig and we got screwed big time. I mean, almost lost all of our equipment. But back to working with this guy, Chucky 3. He had told me that I was one of the top 5 bass players on his list that he'd played with. We're talking, this guy's a professional. He's traveled the world, and he's telling a hobo like me that I'm in his top 5. I was very impressed. Kind of shook my head because, I don't consider myself a good bass player. I just have natural time, and it's a natural feeling. And I play from here. I play from my heart. I couldn't tell you if I was playing a Dorian mode or an Octavian mode or what key I was playing in or what. It just comes from my heart. It's a God-given talent. That after working with Chuck, I realized that I had wasted. I had wasted it big time. Anyway, working with Chuck, he gives me a call and he says, "We got a gig tomorrow night. You need to get over to my house tonight. We're going to practice." I'm like going, "We got a gig tomorrow night and we're going to practice tonight?" And he was like, "Man, a band's supposed to be, well rehearsed and a lot of rehearsal and stuff." Well, I wanted to play, so I go over to his house, and there's a gentleman by the name of Ted Menstrie. He's a professional also. I believe he was associated with Supertramp in some way. So here I am with a guitar player from Supertramp and a drummer that's played with George Strait. And I consider myself a left-handed hobo from Hoboken. Anyway, we went through the songs. We went and played the gig. And holy mackerel, man. I mean, we actually pulled it off on one practice. Made me start to think. Made me really, really start to think. So anyway, several months go by. Chuck gives me a call again. Same thing. Come over tonight. We got a gig tomorrow. But this time I'm playing with a new bunch of musicians. Still with Chuck, the drummer. But there's a new guitar player, Michael Cole. And there's a new keyboard player by the name of Mike Cole. And another keyboard player by the name of Eddie Guion, who was a tour keyboardist for major tour bands. One of them was Aretha Franklin. So, okay, we do the one practice, we do the one gig. Things came out really, really well. We did it like 4 or 5 times in that year. We got together the night before and played the gig the next night. It made me realize what type of a musician that I really was. I wasn't a left-handed hobo from Hoboken, which I was continually telling myself that I wasn't worthy. That I can go and play with professional musicians, union card holding musicians, with one night practice and sound professional. I have wasted my entire career with my friends. wasted. I could have been out there playing these big gigs. I could have been a star musician. Well, not a star, but getting paid. Because other than Geddy Lee and the bass player for Seamus, you're not really, bass players aren't very famous anyway. So back to being a rock star. After my friend Randy Walters had formed this band Pygmy Love Circus and been around the world on world tours and stuff like this, him and I had a talk one Christmas night, and he apologized to me for whatever things he had done in the past, which was very important to me because that's probably the only person I could call as a real true friend. But anyway, he told me horror stories about, but they weren't an A band. That they were traveling in broken down vehicles and they'd have to sleep with their equipment, or they'd be sleeping on someone's couch, or in a garage repair shop waiting for the vehicle to be fixed, and wondering how they're going to get to the next town because they're running short on money. He also said that after the tour was done, he made $275,000, but it cost him $300,000 plus to do the tour. So he came back to Los Angeles with no money, no job, no place to live, no place to practice. And I'd been married for many, many years, and my career had just been so. But there are some big highlights to it in my career. I actually, I got to play with Ted Mantry. I got to play with Chucky and Eddie Guion. These guys are nationally touring.